business for all they do for the community. And don't forget, for envelopes, wedding invitations, signs, banner wraps, and more, go to LincolnPrintersInc.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today is Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center. Good morning, Tony. How are you, my friend?
I'm well, Seth. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Thanks for asking, and thanks for making time for us as always. And Tony, I know this conversation comes up in the spring, and then we always kind of wait around and wait for the data to come out. The Illinois Youth Survey, students in the various districts across DeWitt and Piatt counties do these surveys, and then we wait for the data to come out later in the summer. I'll tell you what, let's start with this. Just remind us, the Illinois Youth Survey, maybe for folks who are new to this concept, what is it and what's it all about? Why are you so interested in it?
Well, I will tell you that one is I'm a big data nerd, so I like numbers because numbers don't have feelings. They're just objective truths, or at least a good snapshot in the community that allows us to base strategic approaches off of. So the Illinois Youth Survey is a survey that is conducted every 2 years. It is overseen by the University School of Social Work's Center for Prevention Research and Development. So this is a mostly computerized test for all 8th and 10th and 12th graders to sit down and take. It's a self-report that guards their confidentiality, so they have an enrollment number. There's nothing identifying specifically to the student, but it does give us a plethora of data so that we can look as providers of what are some of our strategies that are working, and we can double down on that. And then what are some areas of growth that we need to be putting our attention to?
Very good. All right. So the data is out for 2026, Tony. And I guess just from like surface level stuff, you know, when you first open this packet of data, what are you scanning for? You know, what are some data points you're interested in, even before you do a deep dive into everything else? What are you looking after? What's in this that's of interest to you, just surface level?
Yeah, so there's typically about 4 questions that I look at for the entire survey. I go right to them. So the first one is there is a question that regards to suicidal ideations. Mm-hmm. We don't ask those of 8th grade students. We ask those of 10th and 12th graders. So I'm looking right at that number to see where we're moving. I also look towards a question that says whether or not students have an adult other than their parent they feel comfortable talking to about situations. And then I flip over to the substance use, and I'm looking at kind of 3 data points. One is, what's the overall usage rate for students in the past year? And then I'm looking specifically at marijuana and vaping. Those are the 2 that I go right to, because those seem to be the emerging threats to our kids.
All right. Well, let's dive into those. What's the data in this year's survey say about those things?
So I've got great news. I love to start with good news. The good news is that for almost every identified question as it relates to alcohol use, illegal substances, when we look at the past year, how often students use, that number is dramatically decreased by almost double digits, which is fantastic. So what that means is that our prevention efforts, the work that the community is doing, it's paying off. And I want to commend the community for that. I also want to commend the school districts because our participation rates for students are going up. So we're somewhere around the 73 percentage points for overall participation, which is great for statistical analysis. It means that we have good, reliable data. And the great part is, both Piatt and DeWitt schools saw an increase. which is not the state norm. Most of the counties in the state are seeing a decrease in their data, and some counties so much so that they can't even accurately report countywide data. So kudos to the school district.
Yeah, obviously more people take it, the more comprehensive the data is, I'm sure.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. It's so again, we saw about a 5% increase in participation, which is wonderful.
Okay, I got a question, Tony, because I wonder if there's a connection to a data point you're going to talk about here in a second, but alcohol illegal substance use is down. Is it down because of awareness around those things, or is it down because kids are turning to other things instead?
Well, I would say I could possibly do a rule out of the last question just because we're looking at other usage and it seems to be down. So it's not like they're giving up alcohol for another legal or banned substance. Sadly, the questions are just how often do you use? So it doesn't say what else are you doing with that, your time or your energy. But I can say it, with pretty high confidence that they are not turning to another substance. So again, I'll just say there's a question in here that says, have you used any substance, including marijuana, in the past year? And the 8th graders have seen a 6% reduction. There's a 7% reduction in 10th grade, and there is a 14% reduction in our 12th graders. So that's excellent, excellent news.
All right. All right. Anything else you like out of this year's data that you are encouraged by?
Vaping is down. I was really surprised by that. So it's down 4% with our 8th graders, 4% for our 10th graders, and 11% by our 12th graders. So that's down. Marijuana usage is down by 1% in our 8th graders, 10% in our 10th graders, and 3% in our 12th graders. So again, everything seems to be going down. So the one part that, and I don't want to gloss over that. So great job, Piatt and DeWitt County schools and the prevention teams that are in there. What I will call your attention to is that there's a few things as the type of usage of these substances are moving around a little bit. So one usage that we're seeing that's going up is the use of alcohol mixed with energy drinks. Mm-hmm. That number seems to be going up, and we're going to have to keep our eye on that one. We're also seeing that the way that students are consuming their marijuana, there are 2 of them that seem to have jumped significantly. One is using vape pens to consume marijuana. That's a concern. And of those students that are ingesting THC or marijuana, 20% of the 10th and 12th graders are doing so through these new THC drinks. Mm-hmm. So that's a new question that was on their survey from 2026. I know they're in our local gas stations. I mean, they're clearly labeled. And I believe you have to be over 21 to purchase those. But anytime that we introduce a new means of access, we have to be watching that very, very carefully.
That's a great point you bring up, Tony, because I know for many, many years on this show, since the recreational marijuana has been legalized in Illinois, your concern has been the increased access to that for kids. And, I think we finally kind of have a piece of data that says the things we were concerned about are starting to happen. And when you give kids a variety, or not even just kids, when you give people a variety of ways to ingest things, they're going to take advantage of that, I feel like.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why, quite frankly, over here in marijuana or in Monticello, I was so concerned about the THC consumption of gummies. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of went after the Delta 8 and Delta 10 synthetics because, again, I'm not going to be the fun police and say, if something by the state of Illinois is legal, then, you should be able to consume that. You're an adult and you can consume that however you want. What I will say is that there's an interesting question that asks students how they get their illegal substances. Mm-hmm. And so we'll just stay on this topic of marijuana. So a question is asked, how do you get it? So I normally will go to 2 questions out of that subset. So one of them is, I got it from my parents with their permission. So that's knowingly providing my student an illegal substance of marijuana. 9% of the 8th graders said yes. I'm getting it from my parents. So that's 9% of 8th graders, 20% of our 10th graders. So that's a 6% increase, and 38% of our 12th graders. So that's a doubling, slightly more than double in 2024 that said, my parents are knowingly giving me marijuana. When we go back to looking at prescription marijuana, that same question is asked. I got it from someone else's medical marijuana prescription. 18% of our 8th graders, 18, 1-8. 10% of our 10th graders and 15% of our 12th graders. Those are all increases from 2024. So to your point, Seth, yes, access is a concern for me. And then this knowingly providing substances to a minor is not only criminal, it's just very concerning.
Yeah, and why is that, Tony? Why is that concerning to you?
Well, I think if we start normalizing illegal activity, where do you try to draw the line? If I'm a parent and I say, don't do this because it's against the law, but this thing is against the law, but I'm going to bend, you kind of lose your, in my opinion, you kind of lose your integrity. I also think that we've talked about it before. Adolescents' brains are not developed yet. So they are impulse control, emotional regulation, risk and consequence. Those are the last things to develop in a human mind.
Mm-hmm.
And introducing a foreign and illegal substance to a pre-developed brain, we don't know what that effect's going to be long term. So again, not trying to be the fun police. I'm just saying that's science.
Mm-hmm,
so why would you want to introduce something that can manipulate neurotransmitters or brain development to an underdeveloped brain?
You know, I wonder if there's also the thought process of, well, I did this when I was a kid and I turned out okay, you know, like that, like, you know, what's it going to hurt? You know, I'd rather they do it under my supervision than sneak around and, you know, do it with their friends and put them in harm's way and all those things.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It's permissive parenting. It's a rite of passage. But again, we're talking about marijuana that is past the FDA for adult consumption. I mean, anytime that your physician is prescribing you a controlled substance, they're taking in consideration height, weight, gender, ethnicity, and a whole bunch of other factors because they're medical professionals and it's under the supervision of a medical caregiver. This is dangerous.
Very good. Well, on that, Tony, I tell you what, let's break and come back and break it down some more. Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, my guest on the Zoom. More to come with Tony coming up on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Finding the right employees can be a real challenge these days, whether you're hiring full-time or part-time. That's where the regional radio stations come in. We're here to help you connect with the qualified candidates you need. Check out IllinoisJobPost.com. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. It's part of our comprehensive radio and internet employment campaign designed to get your job openings noticed. For details, just reach out to your account manager. Put the power of radio and the internet to work for you at IllinoisJobPost.com.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at BaumChevyBuick.com right from the start.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace now offers free assembly and free delivery, so it's never been easier to get a great grill for your family, like a Weber gas grill, a Traeger wood pellet grill, or a Big Green Egg charcoal grill. Only at your neighborhood Ace. Around the block. What you need in stock. With people who know their grills.
This is Brad from Gibson Ace Hardware in Clinton, Illinois. Stop in to see us, The Helpful Place at 114 North Madison Street, Clinton.
See participating store for details.
SIU Center for Family Medicine is here to help with back to school and sports physicals. Healthy kids learn better and play harder. Call 217-735-2317 today to schedule your appointment. That's 217-735-2317. SIU Medicine, forward for you.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, again, my guest on the Zoom for today. We're breaking down, Tony, the Illinois Youth Survey data. Anything else out of the data that has caught your attention as we look at it this year?
Yeah, I'll try to run kind of birdshot through the whole thing because it's 73 pages of fun. So I'll hit a couple more because I know our time's running short. So one is that on average, our students are starting to experiment with drugs and alcohol. Their first initial experience is about 6 months younger than it was just 2 years ago. So our average age of experimentation is right at 14 years of age. 14.1 years of age is kind of what we're seeing. That's a 6-month decrease. A couple other things that I'm watching that they're not overly concerning, but they're elevated from 2 years ago is bullying, especially using verbal bullying is slightly elevated in some of our age grades. A question about dating violence. There's a question of, in your dating relationship, has somebody put you down or tried to control you? Our 10th and 12th graders, we're seeing an elevated number in that. So maybe some focus to healthy relationships and how to, know our rights and how to protect ourselves and how to talk to each other. Gambling, youth gambling is up. And it is something that we need to be paying attention to. Overall participation in activities, extracurricular activities is slightly down. So more and more kids are not participating. One quick one I'll just throw to you is church youth group participation. It is down by 18% in our 8th graders, 5% in our 10th graders, and 10% in our 12th graders. So faith-based participation is down. And then again, probably as we mentioned before, the number one question that I go to is when students are asked, how often they ask a question during the past 12 months, have you ever seriously considered attempting suicide? We do not ask those of 8th graders, but we do ask that of 10th and 12th graders. It is a 5% increase with our 10th graders. And it looks like it's about a 7% increase with our 12th graders. Increase. So I applaud the work that my friends over at Heritage is doing within the school district of talking about the risks and the dangers of suicide education or making them more aware. I think Corey and the team over there is doing a fantastic job, but we're going to have to double down on our efforts because it's up and it's concerning.
Well, Tony, I think you just gave us topics for probably our next 4 to 6 interviews together, because we could probably break down so many of these things in a 20-minute segment. And I've been taking notes this morning. In full disclosure, I've been taking notes this morning. I'm not deleting these. All right. So we're going to come back to these at some point as we close out the calendar year and get into 2027. But just to kind of surface level talk about a few of these. The one that I think I noticed the most, and it's just because I'm a sports person and I'm around the kids and their parents and that sort of thing. And it really the sports gambling I think is. I just feel like we're setting ourselves up for a huge problem down the road. I mean, I don't know what you think, Tony, but man, we are just, it is just every commercial of every sports program of every game you watch. I mean, even if you're not watching sports, even if you don't have ESPN or Fox Sports or whatever, it's on the radio now. It's on, it's on social media everywhere you turn. I mean, it is just everywhere now with the sports gambling advertisements. I don't know what you think, my friend, but I don't think we're going down a healthy road with this one.
Oh, I agree 100%. I think, if you really want to look at it in a more concerning matter, is start pulling up your kids' apps on their phone and watch what they're playing, because there are games by chance. There are, my own kids, they got into Roblox and Minecraft and PlayStation. Look at all those add-ons and the way they're talking to your kids. It's like, hey, you can play this game, but if you put $5 more, you can really play this game with all these new skins and music and dance. Like, we are preconditioning youth to be gambling addicts.
Mm-hmm. 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 And that is, that's an addiction that has serious. I mean, it has serious, familial consequences. It has financial consequences. It has emotional and mental consequences. That's one that you go down that road. The road is dark. The road is dark. So.
Yeah, and again, thinking about it from a pre-developed brain of what's one of the things that's not there? Impulse control and risk and reward. So typically most people that are participating in high-level gambling is not thinking about the consequence. They're thinking about that dopamine hit right there when, they've got 2 face cards down and there's no way they can lose.
Yeah. There's that too. Yeah. There's those card games and everything, the slots, and gosh, even the slots are everywhere. I mean, it's every convenience section of the stores now have it. Anyways, it's a tough one. And I got to tell you, Tony, I not big. I mean, I wasn't putting big money on anything, not Dave Portnoy or Clay Travis type money on anything. But I was into sports gambling a little bit. And then the state put that 50-cent tax on every bet. And I'm like, nope, I'm out. Like that, to be honest with you, 50 cents to $1 was maybe the most I'd put on anything. And I'm like, if I'm matching a tax for what I'm putting on these bets, I'm out. So it's interesting. But hey, I tell you what, my friend, I got to let you go for the day. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Or do you put some of this data out on social media? Are you breaking it down anywhere where folks can, maybe get your thoughts in a longer form way? How about that, Tony?
So we've originally presented this data yesterday to the DeWitt County ROSC Council, and then we'll be talking internally here about how we release this in a respectful way. We don't want to be doom and gloom and just, clutching your pearls. We want education to come out of this. And so I'll be reaching out to the local school district administrators saying, here's the countywide data. If you'd like me to, and I'll just put this out here, maybe it's an easier way. If there's any school administrator listening to your program that would like for me to come to a school board meeting to talk about these results, I am more than happy to do that. We are your community mental health center. We're here to support you in any way we can.
Very good. Well, Tony, always good to talk to you, my friend. Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, our guest on the Zoom. Network News comes your way now.
WHOW.